Welcome back as we continue our special coverage over the House of Representatives first phase runoff elections, and very delighted to be having with us Monica Williams. She's an international relations expert and a political expert. Good afternoon, Monica. Hello.
Good afternoon.
How are you, Monica? As we all know that this vote covers 20 constituencies across 7 governorates after the National Election Authority annulled results in 19 electoral districts in the first phase. Now, my question to you is this: how do you read the rerun of the electoral process, and how do you assess people flocking to the polling stations? Is it satisfactory to what we expected?
Of course, if we try to assess the cancellation of result in 90 districts, it doesn't indicate instability in that, but rather the opposite. It demonstrates the willingness to intervene differently when required. It corrects the electoral path and learned lessons for, if we try to remember, it's learned lesson for the second phase. It's the corrective approach provides set of valuable lessons, which include stricter procedures, oversight of polling stations and tabulating centers, and enhanced documentation and digital tracking to minimize any conflicts. And of course, it's a very clear communication between electoral officials and the candidates. And it's very important to shed light on how it's greater voter education to reduce confusion about procedures. So this lesson, or the cancellation, it strengthens public trust and ensures that the second phase and the overall electoral cycle reflects genuine political intent and voters' will.
Right. I'm very glad that you mentioned that, but my question to you was not about assessing the annulment of some constituencies and rerun again. I was talking about the assessment over the turnout of people and the political will to go and exercise their rights in voting and taking that as a constitutional right. Do you feel?
Yes.
Do you feel that transparency was really taken as to the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi?
Of course, the speech or the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi speech has played a central and pivotal role in shaping the environment surrounding the election. And this importance of political stability and active participation of people by framing the participation of voters. It's very important to tackle with this, as it's both a national duty and a strategic investment in Egypt's stability and development. So that successfully reinforce public confidence in the electoral process, and then the emphasis of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on transparency, the role of law, and the need for an active and representative parliament. It's very strongly was with voters, if we try to, particularly women and youth, who view it statement as an invitation to assert their voice in the national arena. So it's very important, and it's of course it reflects the material or the characteristic of the members. So regarding to how to tackle with economic reform and social protection issues later, and continues to support for development projects. So it's very important.
Right. Again and again, we keep asking the same question that is one of the most important elements in the electoral process. When we talk about constituencies, each constituency is different from the other. All around Egypt. It comes with a totally different cultural background, totally different population, totally different many elements. There are tribal constituencies, there are constituencies where you have popularity and that's it, and there is also the native popularity, there is the resorted areas and all that. So youth is a common element in all those constituencies. How do you assess the flock-in of citizens when it comes to constituencies like in Giza, for example, like in Sohag that was mentioned by Mr. Ahmed al-Bendari, that he talked it's the largest when it comes to the turnout. So exactly how do you assess, as a political analyst, how do you assess the importance of the population and the cultural background and the nature of each constituency on the electoral process and the casting the vote?
Of course, it's a very factor and very deeply regional diversity influences political behavior or voter turnout and electoral, of course, outcome. So just the geographic stretch from populated urban centers to rural communities, as you said, from Canal cities to upper Egypt, and it's very important and create variation in priorities and political awareness and voter, of course, engagement. If we try to tackle with Giza, as you said, it's weakness, high voter awareness and political literacy somehow, and it's a greater focus on national level issues like public services, investment, climate, and competition dominated by established parties and prominent public figures. In contrast, the rural areas tended to prioritize direct service delivery, local development, and of course, candidates with a strong tribal and family and or community connections, as we know these areas. So high turnout in some structures due to a strong social mobilization structures, and it's very normal if we try to or compare with international communities.
Exactly. Again, there is the vital question and the most important one that is it runs in everybody's mind when they go to the ballots to cast their votes. What are the most important files do I have in mind? What am I expecting from the next House of Representatives? Because most of the people think that a member of Parliament is only going to be in the House of Representatives for just giving me services. But that's not the truth. It is legislation. It is the ratification of laws. It is surveillance over the government facilities and services and all that.
Of course, the coming Egyptian parliament, of course, specifically will occupy a critical position in shaping the country's political and economic situation. Its effectiveness will determine the depth of institutional reform and the credibility of government. So if we try to shed light on some of the important or high priority topics, we have to tackle with economic legislation, given economic challenges, so it's well tackled with investment law and support industrial expansion, SME growth. So it's very important. And on the other side, the political participation and the presentation, especially there is a lot of pending laws in this regard. And of course, there is a social and public services, healthcare expansion, and economic or education reform and digital transformation. So there is a lot of priority directly influence citizens' daily life and shape social stability.
Right. That's very much so. So from your own point of view, what are the dire files or the urgent files that are awaiting the next House of Representatives session once it is there?
As we said, the most important and high priority topics, the strong economic and real political issues. And of course, there is a lot of overlapping between the local and international regional issues. So I guess there is a lot of important topics and the critical topics regarding role in foreign policy. We support a diplomatic initiatives in the next the next year, specifically is a very crucial year in the political international arena. And to provide political thinking for national security strategies. So it's very important, and how enhance cooperation with strategic partners.
Mrs. William, do you think that part of the success of the electoral process is the amount of awareness or level of awareness of citizens in some constituencies and vice versa? In other words, I would like to say that there has to be some political awareness to be spread prior to the House of Representatives elections, and also there has to be some political education for youth on their choices, why they would choose, how to pick up the right candidate, not only for youth but for other brackets in society, in some places like in rural areas or all that. How important is those particular elements?
There has been a significant increase in political awareness among Egyptian society as a whole. The progress stemmed from consequent government outreach on daily basis, I guess, and the active role of Egyptian sectors or entities, and the greater media engagement which started communities and encouraged people to participate, and to how to people become very involved in different and social and public aspects in Egypt, and to become that the Egyptian citizens become to feel that it's part of the political decision as well. So it's very important and shown a deeper understanding of how their participation can influence national progress and enhance Egypt's international standing at all.
Right. When we talk about the elections in general and the process of people going to the ballots to cast their votes, there is this is a whole process of a whole collaboration of other sectors in the government, like the Ministry of Interior, like the Health Ministry, like the civil society, like the people in civil work who are also facilitating, you know, the services for the senior citizens and the people with determination and all that. When we come to this one for 2025, how do we assess the different services? Hello? Hello? Are you still with us, Monica? I guess we lost Monica William, the political and economic analyst, and we will be retrieving her as soon as possible. Meanwhile, we will be continuing to give you a full and minute-by-minute coverage of the electoral process that is going on in the constituencies where there was a runoff in the elections. And while we monitor the turnout of citizens according to each province and according to the density of population of those people, and according to the cultural background, and according also to the services prior to the elections that were given by the team of each candidate, and whether their political program is reaching out to people, and the different types of political awareness and electoral awareness when it comes to door-to-door campaigns or other campaigns like the press conferences and everything. Each and every one of those processes control the election and control the success of each candidate and control how we pick up the candidate to be able to represent us in the House of Representatives. And on top of all, we should be in full realization and recognition of the real mission of a Member of Parliament. A Member of Parliament should be aware by legal procedures, they should be aware by what exactly is the nation needs and the citizens need, and the government also. So it's a collaboration of missions, not only the mission of serving the members of his constituency and things like that. We will be giving you a full coverage at the top of every hour, of course, but right now stay tuned for more coming up on Nile TV.